Everybody, this is Erin Lundy. I am a physical therapist from the Milestone Therapy Inc. team, and today I'm going to be talking about a fun tutorial about one of the biggest, most fun motor milestones, which is walking, because every parent is so eager for their kids to start walking. This typically starts to occur around 12 months, so for a lot of parents that are frustrated because it's been a couple months after that 12-month mark, this would give you some little helpful tips and hints that have worked for a lot of my kids in the past. So yeah, I hope you really enjoy it and find it useful too. Okay, so number one question I get from parents is, where do I place my hands whenever I'm trying to teach my kid how to walk? Because what I'll often see, using my Raggedy Ann doll as a demo once again, is they'll have the kids right here, hands are behind their head, and the parents are holding back here going, oh, I don't know why they're not walking by themselves. Well, that's because the normal walking pattern that you're teaching your kid is to walk like this, where they're looking through your hands and they're becoming really reliant on you because they're freaking out. So that's not what we want. We want you guys to try to do hand placement down in front of the child, so where they're walking with their center of mass shifted forward, they're learning how to find their balance in their environment, and so you're kind of walking with it like this. And it might require you to bend over a little bit, which is okay, because you have to kind of meet the needs of your kids. So walking like this, not like this. So that's tip number one. Okay, another little fun tip. Parents will often ask me, okay, do I do one hand, two hands? How do I figure this all out? So I always say start with two hands to kind of give this the most support you can give your kid. And so once you find that they can kind of navigate and they're like not so reliant on you, just try it out. Try to only do one hand. I always say also, if you give them like a toy, like I find that like musical toys, like, rattles or bells, or even like your phone, that'll kind of distract them. So they're like walking along, looking at this thing while they're holding onto your hand. So that way they're learning to be less reliant on you. They're distracted and they're really engaged. So another fun thing that I get parents asking me a lot is like, well, how do I grade how much support I'm giving my kid? Because they're really leaning pretty hard on me and they're pretty reliant. So I always say go distal to proximal. And for the people that are not clinical, that just means you start holding them by their hands and then you slowly work your way, supporting them more proximally toward your body. So starting by holding their hand, then you kind of work your way back, like start it with the wrist, then the elbow. And then ultimately, I think it's really helpful if you just kind of support them underneath their armpits. So that way they're kind of, they're not reaching for you. And then a good distraction for this, whenever you get to that point where they can kind of get their balance with you supporting them under their armpits, is if you hand them a toy or something that they're really interested in. So it keeps their hands occupied. They're not trying to reach for you, your clothes or your hair. And they learn how to be pretty independent with their balance, because that ultimately is the goal for how they're going to learn how to walk. Okay, another fun little tip, teaching your little kiddo to be less reliant on you and to be more independent in their environment, is the use of a push toy, which is a great gift, I think, to give to kids that are like starting around the ages of like 10 months all the way up, just because it kind of helps them get their hands on something that makes them feel comfortable, but also kind of makes them have to navigate their environment with their own kind of balance. So I'm going to share my screen to show you guys. Yep, so this is what I just Googled. It's very simple, just push toys here. I use this one a ton. You can get it off Amazon. I think it's pretty cool too, because it gives you the ability to adjust their wheels. So you can make the wheels either more resistant or more mobile to give them more support. So that way they're not flying across the room if they're not quite ready for that point yet. It also has a very interactive front, so the kids are really interested in it, and it just makes it kind of fun for them. Again, I'm not affiliated with any of these toy manufacturers or any company. These are just what I've seen in the clinics and out in the community that have been really helpful. Also, another really cool one, you can get something along the lines of something like this. It's really cool because then you can kind of make it a little bit heavier if you want to put like textbooks, or something heavy like free weights or cans of soup. It also kind of makes it a little bit, the more heavy that the push toy is, the more stability it provides for your kid. So different things like that. I think those are all pretty helpful. Okay, next fun tip for helping your kid learn how to walk is learning to cruise the gap between pieces of furniture. This is teaching your kid, again, to be less dependent on you, and also kind of learning how to balance in a very safe, structured way. So your kid has been cruising along this piece of furniture all along. She's having a great time. Way to go, Raggedy Ann. Then suddenly she sees that other piece of furniture over here that she would like to get to. So one thing I say to parents is take like a fun toy or something that's desirable or interesting to them. Place it over here on the couch over here. So that way they really want to get to it. So cruising along, all of a sudden she sees it and she wants to get over there. So you see how it's a very short gap. It's very safe. You can actually increase how far they go by kind of pushing pieces of furniture back a little bit farther. But right now I say just start off with a small gap. So that way she kind of goes, oh, yay, to get all the way over there. And parents, you can also help be there. I think supporting underneath the armpit region is really helpful. So that way, you know, they have their arms free to move, free to reach, and kind of do what I call like the Indiana Jones, like jumping over the canyon and to get to the other side. It's really fun to watch. And so, yeah, she walks over here and next thing you know, she's great. And so also it teaches rotation with weight shifting whenever they can get all the way over here to that gap. So I think that's really cool. Another fun tip, like let's say your kid's really apprehensive, you can actually turn your chair to where she actually is leaning back against it. So she's got her back supported, she's got her arms free, and that will help kind of facilitate that. And also it makes her feel a little bit safer while also getting ready to like make the plunge. So that's another really fun one. I think it's really cool when you actually get to see this one practiced out. Okay, so final piece of advice, which I think is probably, I saved for the grand finale because I hear this question all the time and I see it all the time, and I think it's one of the #1 reasons why kids are right on the cusp of walking but don't quite get there, and it takes a little bit more time. It's because the kids I see walking along, parents are holding them, and all of a sudden they go and boneless. And this is a term that one of my former clients' parents called this, and I think it's like so appropriate because like all the bones out of their body just melt down. So walking along, oh, complete meltdown. Oh no, they have to fall down on the ground. And then oftentimes the parents don't like seeing their kids unhappy. They don't like seeing them cry, and so they just say, okay, you can go ahead and crawl. Oh, you don't have to try walking right now. Well, guess what? That's enabling your kid to not be able to walk. Again, no judgment here because I'm not a parent. You guys are the parents. I am a PT. But what I know as a PT is that repetition is key. And so, you know, I say whenever a kid has like a little meltdown on the ground, pick them right back up and be like, no, we're going to try walking right now for a little while. And then they do it again. You pick them right back up and you just keep that repetition going. And that repetition is going to help them learn that they don't need to be fearful of walking, that they don't need to avoid it, and they really get comfortable with it because they've been doing it all day long. And so I'm not saying that you should let your kids have a full-on meltdown and just be like, no, you're gonna walk right now. I say give it like 10 times of like picking them right back up, let them take a little bit of a break, and then we go right back at it and try it again, because that repetition is going to be key for these kids learning how to feel comfortable and just have desire to want to do it. So another fun thing, if your kids keeps having meltdowns on the floor and they're like really upset, place something across the room that's super interesting to them, that they can see it, that they can hear it. It's playing music, it's loud, it's flashy, so that way they want to get over to it, but they're still having little meltdowns. Well, after you let them have like a little bit of a break, kind of recompose, then I put a little toy in their hand. So that way they're like, oh, everything's so happy, everything's great. So that way they're like a little bit more calm, a little bit more soothing. They've got you right behind them, they've got their toy. All of that stuff helps. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that all of these little helpful tips and tricks for helping teach your kids how to walk and be a little bit more comfortable in their environment, be more comfortable with their balance, and also just having fun with you. I hope that all of these things really help you guys achieve that as your family, and good luck.